Hey guys, Mr. Happy here, and welcome to my guide to Alexander, the Soul of the Creator, on the normal difficulty. This fight can be unlocked after completing the Heart of the Creator on the normal difficulty and unlocking it in the Hinterlands. It requires a minimum item level of 230 to enter with the Duty Finder. This fight is broken up into 4 phases. To skip to a specific phase, please use the annotations in the top left hand of the video. The first phase of the fight just has a few damaging attacks from Alexander Prime. First of all, he does have a standard cleave he uses along with his basic attack, so make sure to face him away. We just default straight north from where he spawns. Mega Holy is a room-wide AoE that you'll need to heal through. Punishing Heat is a tank buster that you should try your best to mitigate. It hits pretty hard. The first attack that will likely confuse people is Sacrament. Alexander will cover his front, both flanks, and his rear in a charging laser barrier. When it finishes casting, a powerful line AoE will shoot directly out of each of the triangular sections. To dodge this, stand between 2 sections like you see in the video, just between the 2 small orbs. Be careful about how close you are to Alexander's model when standing here. It could still hit you if you're too close to his hitbox. The only other attack he will likely use during this phase is Blazing Scourge. This will mark 2 players with a prey marker and deal AoE damage around them when it hits. Just move away from other players if you get marked. At around 77%, Alexander will teleport away and begin Phase 2. Phase 2 is simply just killing a few groups of adds. The first set spawns 3 on both the west and east sides of the arena. They can hit pretty hard if they all gang up on one tank, so you may want to cool down for that. Have each tank grab 3 and bring them into the middle to AoE down. The next group of adds will just be 2 large ones. Each tank should grab a single add, and then you can just tank them together for things like Bane or Shadow Flare. Every third hit from one of these adds will do a large amount of extra damage, so watch the tank health on these auto attacks. Focus them down one at a time. After about 20 seconds, 4 adds will spawn in the intercardinal directions of the room, even if you haven't defeated the prior group of adds. Focus these down as quick as possible, even if the other adds are still alive, as their AoE, Almost Holy, will do a large amount of damage, especially if all 4 of them do it at the same time. Just in case none of them die in time, I highly recommend things like Sacred Soils, Suckers, Knocked Shields, Time Heals, anything really to survive. After you kill all of the adds, or enough time elapses, a giant Alexander will appear and begin charging Divine Judgment. Here's the interesting part. You have to use a tank LB3 to mitigate its damage, or it's a wipe. Don't worry, the game ensures that they give you enough limit break gauge to survive it. Try to use it when Alexander's countdown is at about 4 seconds remaining, and that should work every time. Survive this, and it's on to Phase 3. At the beginning of Phase 3, Alexander Prime will use Chronofoil and grow wings. With this, he gains a bunch of new mechanics that might be a bit confusing your first run of it. He still has Punishing Heat, Mega Holy, and Blazing Scourge, so keep an eye out for those. He tends to teleport around a lot also, so just tank him wherever he goes, facing away from the crew. Almost immediately, the boss will cast Temporal Stasis. This will mark 1 player with a split damage marker and 4 others with a separate marker. The 4 players with the separate marker should get away from each other and the split damage marker, while the non-marked players split the other AoE with the final marked player. You'll need to be in position for this before Temporal Stasis finishes casting, as when it's done, it will actually freeze time and prevent you from adjusting. For fun, look at your buffs and your debuffs, by the way, when this happens. The split damage AoE also gives magic vulnerability down, so if you're hit by this plus one of the other AoEs, it's gonna hurt bad. Alexander Prime will then teleport away and channel a Sacrament. You have just enough time to dodge it after you're unfrozen, so look at where you're going to be running to dodge it immediately upon Alexander teleporting. After some time has passed, or around 60%, Alexander will teleport to the middle of the room and cast Time Gate, which will send 4 adds into their own Time Gate orbs. Each DPS should enter one of the 4 orbs and quickly kill the add inside. If you kill your add early, you can help the others by jumping to their platforms and damaging their adds. Failure to kill them all before Alexander finishes casting his Continuity Disalignment will cause an instant wipe. The other 4 players just need to heal through Alexander's normal attacks while the DPS deal with the time gates. Once the time gates are dealt with, Alexander will start using Gravitational Anomaly. This just places a bunch of black AoEs on the ground that you need to avoid, while he marks several players with the prey marker. Just spread out if you have a prey marker and don't stand in the black AoEs. Sometimes it is hard to see them properly with the way that the arena looks and the way that the gears move around, but just do your best here. The second time he uses Gravitational Anomaly comes right after a Temporal Stasis, and will require you to dodge a Sacrament while repositioning. This can get a little tricky, so don't be surprised if a few people take a few hits. Just be sure to recover quickly. He will immediately follow with Incinerating Heat, which is just a normal split damage AoE, nothing special about it. People should just stack up in order to split the damage as close to Alexander as possible. Shortly after this, Alexander Prime will enter his final phase. Keep in mind that it seems Alexander Prime will enter this final phase based entirely off his rotation, and it is not something that is pushed based on percentages. With a normal group of players that I usually play with, we hit this around 29%, but I've seen Duty Finder groups hit this as early as 45 and 50%, so it's definitely time-based. His final phase begins when he uses Summon Alexander, which brings back the huge Alexander from before. He mostly does the same mechanics as he has been all this time, but the large Alexander will regularly channel Communion on raid members, which, after tethering to a player and a short delay, will drop 4 puddles one by one under them. Standing in these puddles gives a stacking bleed, so it's best to just constantly be on the move while you have them, and to place them as close to the outside of the arena as possible. This mechanic is regularly placed directly before or after Alexander Prime's other mechanics, so it's all about placing them out of the way without killing other party members. Some mechanics you'll definitely see while having to deal with this are things like Temporal Stasis, Gravitational Anomaly, and Sacrament. It can get a little hectic, but just keep your cool and you'll probably make it through okay. If you're too slow, about 12 minutes into the fight, Alexander will eventually use Divine Judgment, and even with an LB3 this time, you're going down. You have plenty of time though, so best of luck on the new raid. And that's my guide to Alexander, the Soul of the Creator on the normal difficulty. After clearing this, if you dare, you can step foot into Savage, which I will have guides out for in the next couple of weeks. Thank you for watching this video. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned for all the latest Final Fantasy XIV news, especially with the Fan Festival and the expansion announcement coming in the next couple of weeks. Thank you for watching again, and until next time, take care.